Welcome back to the Koinonia Podcast. Today we're talking about respite care. What is it? How do you do it? Who needs it? Who should do it? So on and so forth. Okay? So I'm here with Banetta, our parent partner, who has approved many homes, who's done foster care, who's actually used respite. So let's just go right to it. So when you were doing foster care back in the day, when did you use respite?
When I needed a break, or when I was going on vacation with my husband, which meant I needed a break.
Right.
And we needed a break as a family, just to regroup, breathe, be able to give back. If your tank's empty,
Right.
you can't give out.
Right. So we're in a time of COVID right now. We need to be thinking about self-care and caring for ourselves. Now, respite has not been a big utilized resource during COVID because COVID is a time of not sharing people's space, okay? But typically speaking, an agency like Koinonia or any agency in the state of California, to do respite, you have to be approved to the same degree as a
Resource parent.
resource parent, right? And resource parent is the new term for foster parent in California. It's the full approval. It's a foster and adopt approval. And you might think that's a lot of work just to be able to do respite. So what are some of the examples of people that you've had approved here for our office just to do respite?
It was families, number one, who in their hearts, they thought they want to do foster care, but they were unsure of if they are ready for it. And so they thought, I'll just dip my toe in the water and see what it's like.
Okay.
It's really funny, too, because some of them ended up being foster parents full time because...
So it's a good chance to help out another family. It's a good chance to experiment with having a stranger in your home.
Right.
What is that like? How do your kids and your dogs and your cats and your neighbors and your grandparents, how does your family respond? And it's not a commitment. It is an opportunity to help kids in short term. You can also do short-term emergency. But a family that would become a respite provider is somebody who wants to help multiple families.
Right.
They want to have kids there for weekends or while the foster parents, resource parents are on a trip like you guys use them for. And the longer a foster parent does this work, the more breaks they need, especially if you're doing high turnover. Or let's say you take an emergency placement and you're leaving town soon, that child is going to have to go into respite in another approved home so they can continue school and visits with their family. And so what would you say the need is in Placer County for respite?
I think especially with our emergency program, we need respite families.
So the more ER work, the more emergency placements an office utilizes, they need more respite providers.
Right.
Yeah.
Just for the example you used, a family has a trip planned, a child comes in, and then they're going to be gone. That respite care provider can care for the child until they return. I think it's a really good way to see what foster care is like. Or let's say you're a retired couple. We could only hope, right? That means for me. It's a good way to give back to your community and to your children and to children of our community without making a long time commitment of being there daily. Just maybe a couple weekends a month or a week a month, something like that.
Another one I hear a lot is let's use respite to consequence the kid. Do we like to use respite to tell the kid, hey, you've made a mistake, you're disappointing us with your behavior, so you're going to go into respite? And the answer is
never.
No.
Never.
Respite is not a consequence.
No.
In fact, the kid might have more fun in respite than at your house. So that'll not always work out for you.
Yeah, that respite care provider is going to let that child have probably more freedom. You're like, oh yeah, you can stay up another half hour when
let's go to a movie. Let's have fun.
Yeah,
respite people love to love on kids. It's their chance to help. So it doesn't necessarily. We don't set it up as a consequence for the kid. It has more to do with giving the parent a break, or take a vacation, or take care of themselves, because this work can be challenging at times.
I do have another point. It's kind of like I was blessed to have my parents live close by. So when we needed a break just from our children. Let's face it, we all need a break.
Mm-hmm.
Grandma and grandpa would step in.
Yeah.
Well, these children, they don't have a grandma and grandpa to step in.
Right,
And
right.
that's...
And we've had some single parents actually get the grandparents completely approved so that the child could be in the
Right.
grandparents' house on a regular basis, more than 24 hours, and be watched in that home all the time because the single parent had to work. So it's either going to be a daycare situation for a child in that situation, or if you have a family or a relative who's nearby who is committed and available, it's better to get them fully approved. It's pretty rare, but that can be, helpful for single parents who do foster care.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So just kind of the highlights about Respite, what it is, how it works, what the need is here in California. I hope it helped. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.